So who had a worse night tonight? Was it Undisputed Era, or was it Aleister Black? Let's talk about NXT. What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check here with your July... what the hell is it anyway? July 25th NXT review. Before we get into that, before we even get into the house cleaning this time around, I just want to send quick shout out to, as you guys know, I'm in the greater Toronto area, but I'm not actually in Toronto, so shout out to anybody that's actually in Toronto, anybody that was even close to affected by the shitty events surrounding the shooting that took place in Toronto over the course of the weekend. I hope nobody within the sound of my voice right now was affected by that or hurt by that or anything like that, but if there is anybody in that general area, you know, thoughts and prayers from this channel are obviously going out to those people. It's pretty damn shitty, and there's not much else I can say other than, sadly, the only thing human beings seem to be good at, time after time after time, year after year after year, century after century, is killing each other, and that's fucking terrible. So to anybody viewing me in the greater Toronto area, to anybody viewing me around the world that's been affected by shit like that, I just want to say, hope you guys are all doing okay. I'm doing okay, and if you are having a shitty time, I hope you can at least come here and joke with me for a couple minutes and I can brighten up your day somewhat. Now, moving on from that to some much more positive stuff, we will get into the house cleaning. Go check out, in the annotation up above there, I always get confused doing this thing, check out the annotation up above for the playlists, for all the other playlists on this channel, previous NXT reviews, the few 205 Live reviews that I did, the Off the Cuff series, which is going to be coming back sooner or later. Check out the new playlist that I put up there for the movie reviews, the massive 19-movie MCU review that Kristen and I did. Check out the Q&A if you want to be part of the next Q&A. Put your comments in the comment section of the last Q&A and it'll be all good. We are climbing very, very slowly. I think we're sitting right now at 775 or 776 or something like that as far as subscribers go. It's been a very slow climb. I've been doing this for quite a bit now. Love doing it. I do not claim to be a huge name on this particular medium, but so for me, 775 is a great accomplishment. To those of you I know, especially since we've started doing the pay-per-view pick 'em, etc., that have been sharing my videos around and getting other people involved and all that, I do want to stop and say thank you for that. I should say it more often, but I don't. If we can round out the year at 1,000, I don't think it's going to happen, but if you guys, any little share or tweet or duplicate or link that you guys send out, I know I don't say it enough, but it is really appreciated. That's really it. I could talk about the announcement that was made on Monday about Evolution, the all-women's pay-per-view that's coming up in October, which looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. As you guys know, despite what people think on Twitter, whatever your name is, at Abby whatever, who seems to be trolling me right now, despite what people like them think, I've always been a huge proponent of women's wrestling, seeing more women's wrestling and what they've done with it in the WWE. So the fact that we have a pay-per-view coming up in October that's just for the ladies, it's really cool. We're going to see the Raw Championship, the SmackDown Championship, the NXT Championship, and the NXT UK Championship, which means, I guess by then we will have an NXT UK Championship. Also, we're going to see the finals of the Mae Young Classic, which brings me to another announcement, is once again, yes, I will be covering the Mae Young Classic. I had a lot of fun doing it last year. I had a lot of fun, you know, similar to the CWC, the Mae Young Classic was a whole lot of fun. I don't like the Netflix style in which they drop it, so I hope they don't do that again this year. But it will be a lot of fun. I've already got the graphic from a buddy Salvador. Thank you, sir. Hope to be putting that into motion shortly. Now, some people have said in the spoilers for NXT that I've read, which ruined this week of NXT for me a little bit, some episodes of NXT are going to have qualifying matches for the Mae Young Classic. I will do what I did last year and separate those out. So if I do an NXT review like this, I'll be, oh, next up it was so-and-so versus so-and-so, but that's part of the Mae Young Classic. Please stay tuned for another video tomorrow or whenever that happens to work out. I will be sort of removing that from the NXT review because it will be, as far as I'm concerned, a separate thing. But somebody asked me on Twitter, should the Mae Young Classic final at Evolution be the main event? And in a very interesting way, I kind of think it should, because, you know, Stephanie McMahon hit on it super hard on Monday, but WWE has that then, now, forever thing. Now, if you want to talk about past, present, future, it's a great thing. Sorry. We know that there's going to be people like Beth Phoenix, Trish Stratus, obviously Lita. Bailey actually said online that she wanted a match with Lita, which was interesting. I think Trish Stratus is facing Mickie James, which is another blast from the past, which is great. I think if we put those matches towards the beginning of the show, have all the matches for all the current championships in the middle, and then have the Mae Young Classic at the end, that would be the perfect way to punctuate the then, now, forever mantra that WWE's sort of been sporting the past couple of years. I don't personally think they're going to do that. I think they're going to put whatever Ronda Rousey is doing in the main event, and I'm fine with that, because I think we can all agree that she's way, way better than anybody could have predicted that she would be. But long story short, going to be reviewing the Mae Young Classic, going to be doing a proper pay-per-view pick'em, and possibly a review for the actual pay-per-view itself, so stay tuned for that, along with all, as I say, all the other stuff up in the annotation up above. Let's talk about tonight. Let's talk about tonight, where we knew going in that the one main thing we were going to get was the NXT World Championship match between TOMMASO Ciampa and Aleister Black. Obviously, we start off the night with a video package leading us into that match, and it's cool because it showed both of their respective places coming out of TakeOver Chicago. Ciampa obviously getting the win over Gargano. Gargano's obsession with Ciampa after the fact. Black sort of taking out Sullivan, which wasn't really focused on that much, because Sullivan isn't really a factor in NXT right now, because apparently he shattered his jaw, which is not good for anybody, really, is it? I mean, I won't come up here to pretend that Sullivan is one of my favorite guys on NXT. He's really not. He's more athletic Big Show. But, you know, you don't want to see somebody walking around with their jaw hanging out in two pieces either. That's kind of a shitty deal. After that, we saw Adam Cole, baby, and I thought he had a title match tonight. I thought he was taking on one of the British guys. I thought he was either taking on Danny Burch or one of the guys from Pete Dunne's little faction there. Little side note, going to go to a Destiny show in a couple months where the main event is going to be all three members of British Strong Style versus Marty Scurll and the Young Bucks. So I will get to make fun of the Bullet Club in person. I will get to make fun of the Young Schmucks in person. And apparently there's a lot of people upset with me because I get to go see that and they don't. So all I can say is come to Mississauga. Come to a Destiny show. It's all good. But we do have Adam Cole in a non-title match against Sean Maluta. Sean Maluta, you may remember from the... I mean, he's been on NXT, but he's more properly known as one of the competitors in the original Cruiserweight Classic. And he's, from what I've seen, from the little bit that we've been able to see about him, I like him. I think he's a really good guy. I think you might see him and Kona Reeve as a tag team if one turns face or one turns heel. They talked about his Samoan history for the briefness that was this match. But we started off with the collar and elbow tie, but a cheap shot by Cole right off the bat. Front slam, series of pin attempts and a neckbreaker by Maluta. Second rope takedown and mounted punches by Cole. Cole works the midsection. Maluta eats a turnbuckle. Headbutt by Maluta, but a super kick and a last shot by Cole get the win. It's all good. I mean, it didn't look totally shit, but it was a glorified squash match. I mean... you look at YouTubers much more prestigious than myself, so look at somebody like an OK Fabe or a Good Mic Work, they will tell you that even NXT, even when they do a squash match, they don't make the other guy look bad, which I think is fucking fantastic. Adam Cole, this is basically a vehicle to get Adam Cole on our television so he can come out, grab the mic and say he's the most buzzworthy superstar on any brand. He talks about why he makes NXT important. He makes NXT important. He makes this title important because he defends it all over the world. Talks about the people he's defended it against on NXT television, at NXT takeovers, and even over in the UK, which is really, really great. I can't read my own writing. He says, you know, I'm such a giving guy. Look at this kid that I just beat right here. And Sean Maluta is still making his way to the back just for that. And if there's anybody, ... hit the music. Out comes Ricochet. Ricochet sort of giving him the sarcastic golf clap. Congratulations on not running away for once. But at the same time, this was a non-title match against a guy whose name you don't even remember. You used to take NXT by storm, but since becoming champion, you've taken us by storm by doing nothing, which is a little bit of a mixed comment. How about we have a match together at TakeOver, unless I've been right about you all along. Cole says, you're right, I am that good, but I'm not going to lower myself to a match with you in Brooklyn, which is great. He makes his way up the ramp. As Ricochet is calling him a coward, he continues to make his way up the ramp as his other brothers from the Undisputed Era flank him on either side. Now, they're trying to leave. Who else comes behind them is the War Raiders, looking all badass as shit standing behind them. So you get that whole, okay, you can go to the ring and deal with Ricochet, you can keep going backwards and deal with the War Raiders. So they try to escape through the side, through the crowd, where they proceed to get jumped by Tyler Bate and Trent Seven. So there's no good way for them to go. I think Nigel McGuinness referred to it as they've officially found themselves in the Bermuda Triangle of NXT, which is really, really good because they mentioned the numbers game and how Undisputed Era always like that 3-on-1 or 3-on-2 advantage. In this case, there's a 5-on-3 advantage. Nothing comes of it. I mean, I'm pretty sure we're going to get Adam Cole versus Ricochet at TakeOver. And, I mean, Mustache Mountain versus the War Raiders versus Strong and O'Reilly isn't something I would shake a stick at either. Very, very good. Very, very cool. Very nice. Really, really cocky heels getting their comeuppance type moment. You're not going to go this way. You can't go this way. And if you go this way, we're going to jump you in the crowd. Pretty damn good. Kind of a bummer not to see Pete Dunne, but I'm sure he's doing something with NXT UK, which would be fantastic. Baszler and Kairi Sane in the back with William Regal doing a contract signing. I really do like this. I mean, they tried to do this on SmackDown with Shinsuke Nakamura and AJ Styles a while ago. The backstage feel, the old school, like... in like the Gorilla Monsoon era, where they would just come to a boardroom, come to a proper meeting table, sign paperwork like actual paperwork gets signed, rather than, you know, flip tables and throw chairs at each other in the ring and call it a contract signing. It was good. Baszler talked about how, you know, don't even talk about the one time you beat me in the Mae Young Classic, because the Shayna Baszler I was back then is a shell of the Shayna Baszler that I am now, and I'm going to destroy you, and I'm going to prove that I'm the one that's really here fighting, while you and all the other girls are just pretending. You pretend that you're on my level, you're pretending that you can be the one to beat me, and you're pretending to be a pirate looking for treasure. And Kairi Sane, which I love because she's sort of badass in her own quiet way, just sits at the back, or sorry, at the other side of the table, and just over and over again, just repeating, you know it, I know it, I can beat you, until Shayna Baszler loses her shit and leaves. Later on in the show, I didn't write it down, but you do see her also getting confronted by, the fuck is her name? Candice LeRae, because she, during the whole, interaction with Kairi Sane and William Regal, she's also talking a whole lot of shit about Candice LeRae, how she should sit at home, be a dutiful, doubting wife, and take care of Johnny Gargano, and her place isn't in the ring, rah rah. Candice LeRae confronts her in the hallway as she's leaving the meeting, talking about, you know, why don't I say it to your face, you know, why don't I come slap you again? It's all good. Shayna Baszler versus Candice LeRae somewhere down the line, one-on-one, I wouldn't mind that either. We replay Velveteen Dream ditching EC3 in their tag team match at the UK WWE NXT special that I reviewed a couple weeks ago, and it doesn't really go anywhere, because then they transfer from that to talking about the fact that EC3 is going to face Kona Reeves next week. So I don't know why they stuck the Dream bit in there. I'm pretty sure we're going to get EC3 versus Dream at TakeOver, so why use that moment to advertise the match with Reeves next week, other than, gee, I wonder if Velveteen Dream is going to get involved. Tanilla Price, who I'm not familiar with, if you guys are familiar with her, put her down in the box below. She had the unfortunate luck of being booked in a match with Lacey Evans, who for some reason deserves wins. The women's right can still fuck off. Another undeserving win for Evans. I'm not even going to get into it because it's not worth it. Other than Mauro Ranallo, before this match even started, you know, Mauro Ranallo said something along the, and I can't quote it verbatim, but basically it's like, Lacey Evans seems to think that she's a lady. I call that fake news. That made me smile a whole bunch. And as seems to happen every week, we go to the back, and Bianca Belair makes it harder and harder and harder for me to try to like her as a competitor. I do like her in the ring, and I've said this, I'm going to keep saying it until my voice goes hoarse, which it already is. I do like her in the ring. She's talented as fuck in the ring. She's athletic as fuck in the ring. The hair whip gimmick is lame. The EST, STD of NXT thing is lame. And she can't cut the best promos. Her cringe promo in the back was basically talking about the fact that she got screwed out of a title shot. She didn't get screwed out of a title shot. She's injured. She's like, why would I even want to be in that match? Why would I take a 3-on-1 odds? Well, you'd have the same odds as everybody else. So that math doesn't add up either. And then her promo just turned into her in like a super, super cringy, like hood rat type mentality. I'm going to get what I deserve and they're all going to see. I'm going to get what they deserve and they're all going to see. These girls are all going to see. I'm like, just stop. Wrestle. Go. Be good in the ring. Awesome. Don't give her a microphone. Just don't. That's all I can say. Ciampa versus Black is our main event and obviously takes up the bulk of the show, which is good. Match was hard-hitting as fuck, as you would expect, but it is a NXT title match on NXT, on regular weekly NXT, so you know shenanigans are going to ensue. They do remind us a bunch, you know, Unlucky 13, ALEISTER Black, you know, the dark doom and gloom character is the 13th champion. Oh, look at the irony of that. The silent entrance by Ciampa is still fucking gold. The boos that he gets and the reaction that he elicits is fucking incredible. I cannot take my hat off to Ciampa enough. Stiff collar and elbow tie up to start. Ciampa works the arm. Single leg by Black. Front face lock by Ciampa. Side headlock by Ciampa. And a shoulder tackle. And the first pin attempt of the night. Ciampa goes for that first pin attempt like he's gonna win. And it's just... And that sounds really, really simple, but like the amount of confidence and the amount of bravado and the amount of like, I'm gonna fuck this guy over right away that goes into that first pin attempt was fucking gold. Exchange of arm bars, side headlock by Ciampa, deep arm drag, modified arm bar by Black. Both men exchange strikes on the outside. Series of axe handles and boots by Ciampa as they come back into the ring. Kicks by Black and boots Ciampa off the apron. Body blows by Ciampa and a hangman and a boot by Black. Ciampa tosses Black up the ramp, into the apron, into the steps, mocking Black's pose on the steps while Black is cringing on the floor. It was a great, great, great visual. If you can think of in the Gargano-Ciampa match, where they sort of sat cross-legged next to each other, mimicking the match that they had at the Cruiserweight Classic, and how just moment in wrestling that was. Similar thing here where you've got Black down for a moment on the outside and Ciampa just takes the calm, cool, collected moment to mock Black's pose on the steps. It was a really, really cool thing. Low drop kick by Ciampa and knees to the spine, crossface by Ciampa and a backbreaker. Mudhole stomp by Ciampa and an abdominal stretch with the ropes because he's a heel and it's good. High knee by Ciampa and a cloverleaf. They trade strikes on the apron. Double shoulder tackle spot knocks both men down. They trade punches. Back elbow and a trip by Black. Second rope springboard moonsault by Black, which, as I've always said, for a guy his size is always impressive. Back elbow kitchen sink shining wizard by Black, followed by, it's not Raw, it's not SmackDown, it is in fact NXT, but say it loud, say it proud, the Daniel Bryan silly kicks on the apron from ALEISTER Black. Slam on the apron by Ciampa, top rope DDT and a lariat. Running knee by Black, Meteora by Black, and a German suplex by Black. Ciampa tosses Black on the outside into a cameraman, which distracts the ref. Ciampa's able to get a crutch and hit Black, I think in the throat, but you can't see because the camera shot is from behind. I'm going to assume it's from the throat because that's pretty vicious and that's something vicious that Ciampa would do. Suicide Senton by Black is great. Suspension DDT by Ciampa is great storytelling. Ciampa exposes the floor, arguing with the ref some more. Black tosses Ciampa into the ref, who bumps to the floor, who's out. Black mass, no referee for the pin. Wonderful. Ciampa rakes the eyes, grabs the belt, goes to hit him. Gargano shows up, super kicks Ciampa, but as he's trying to take the belt away from Ciampa, he hits Black in the face with the belt, and Black is down, and then he gets that weird upward pedigree that Ciampa does at the hands of Gargano. The referee comes back in. 1, 2, 3. Ciampa is the fucking Thanos of NXT, and it's not the Infinity Gauntlet, but it's good enough. We've got the NXT Championship on his waist, handed to him by the guy that's trying to destroy him. Fucking wonderful. The last thing you see is Ciampa yelling at the ref on the apron to put the belt on him and raise his fucking hand. This was awesome. This is great. This is the whole, like, you know, Ciampa getting eaten alive and now it's costing other people's stuff. Now you could have Black and Gargano go and fuck each other up for a while, which I'm pretty sure they're going to. Ciampa is champion, and this was a great episode of NXT. It was a 2-act show. You had the stuff with the Undisputed Era. You wasted a bunch of time with people like Bianca Belair and Lacey Evans, and then you had this great match to end the night. This, if we weren't storytelling to a further story, this could have main evented the next pay-per-view. It didn't, but it could have. That's really all I have to say. Just a fantastic episode. Even the sort of the, I hate to say it this way, even the smallest name on the card tonight, Sean Maluta, came out looking really good tonight. And that's a good showing. You got Ciampa, Gargano, and Black all in the main event. Here's the one sad thing I will say. I do kind of feel bad for Aleister Black, in the sense that while he's been champion, he's never main evented a pay-per-view because the Gargano-Ciampa feud has always superseded what he's been doing with the belt. And the only way we could get that belt into the main event of the show was for him to fight one of them. I really think that this puts Black in a fucked up spot now, which is kind of shitty. But I'm sorry, Ciampa being champion like overrides all of that, because we know what we can expect at TakeOver Brooklyn 4 and beyond. Don't really have much else to say. I've been Spaz, your YWC Reality Check. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a... Fuck that up. Rewind it. Let's try that one more time. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation. Keep all these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I'll talk to each and every last one of you later, but for right now, I am tagging out. Bye, guys.
You're a freak like me.